stronger with great virtues, out of compassion, for the sake of this assembly and all living beings. Please turn the wonderful Dharma wheel to teach us how to leave suffering, attain bliss, and burden and quickly realize non-birth. Om Thiên Đại Đức Âm Dương vì thứ cao khôi cấp nhật thiết chúng sanh kính chiếm nhiều pháp giáo đạo ngã môn như há liêu sinh tử y tổ đẳng tớ chứng vô sanh. Nam mô Sananto Suche Doye Uragadi Sanyam Samputo Che.
Nam mô Sananto Suche Doye Uragadi Sanyam Samputo Che.
Homage to the blessed, noble, and perfectly enlightened one.
Homage to the blessed, noble, and perfectly enlightened one.
Nam mô Tát Kato Yada Yara Arahade Tam Tampo Toa.
Nam mô Tát Kato Yada Arahade Tam Tampo Toa.
Hold it up. All Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, restore Bodhisattva, Rinpo YongHua, or good Lord advisor Samitofo. Chư Phật Bồ Tát, Địa Tạng, Hòa Thượng Tiên Vót, Trí vị trí thức, A Di Đà Phật. Okay, continuing with our lecture of the Restore Bodhisattva Sutra. At this point in time, so far we talked about some generalities. Now we beginning to delve into the setting of this assembly. At that time, the Honored One smiled and emitted hundreds of thousands and billions of great light clouds, such as the great perfect fullness light cloud, the light cloud of kindness and great compassion, the light cloud of great wisdom, the light cloud of great prajna, the light cloud of great samadhi, the great auspicious light cloud, the light cloud of great blessing, the light cloud of great merit and virtue, the light cloud of great refuge, and the light cloud of great praise. Khi ấy Đức Thế Tôn mỉm cười, phóng ra ánh sáng ngàn vạn ức sắc thái, ánh sáng đại viên mãn, ánh sáng đại từ bi, ánh sáng đại trí tuệ, ánh sáng đại bát nhã, ánh sáng đại tam muội, ánh sáng đại các cường, ánh sáng đại phước đức, ánh sáng đại công đức, ánh sáng đại quy y, ánh sáng đại tán thán. Cloud refers to a natural phenomenon. It's the vapors of the earth. It's a combination of yin and yang that covers space, that fills empty space, that occurs naturally without action needed. And the Buddha in general manifests their Buddhas and Bodhisattvas manifest their bodies as numerous as the clouds, appearing everywhere in the universe, in the Dharma realm, to teach. The Vietnamese version has a word missing. The ability to manifest bodies as numerous, as countless as clouds appearing everywhere in the universe is the spiritual power of the Bodhisattvas and the Buddhas. Not only the Buddhas have it, the Bodhisattvas also have it. Okay. And what they do is that they sit there in the body and they see all these living beings out there in the universe whose root roots have matured. It's time for them to come and help and bring those roots to maturity, to help bring them to the next level. Why can't we do that? We're not there yet. Our samadhi power is not there yet. Eventually we're all able to do that. I can assure you that. It's not only for the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. Eventually, when you practice long enough and you pay your dues, we're all able to do that. Okay. The importance of this sutra is that it tells you, like watching a movie. You see it happening, see it being described, so that it piques your interest and plant a seed in you, seeds in your mind, and say, hey, if they can do it, so can I. That's where I want to go, in that direction. So that's why sutras are very important to listen to, because it gives you a sense of direction, gives you foresight. Okay? The great perfect fullness light cloud. Vietnamese is now I have Vietnamese, more Vietnamese. Next week I will have more Vietnamese wording. This ánh sáng này, the sutra only lists out 10 different kinds of clouds, because the 10 represents the countless. 10 is sort of represent perfection in Mahayana. 10 represents the countless, because it replicates itself. In math we have the 8 sideways. In Mahayana it's the 10, or the 10,000, the zeros. Okay? So the first one is the great perfect fullness light cloud. This great perfect is perfect. This cloud here represents the Buddha Dharma. The next 10 clouds here represent the 10 Dharma realms. So this perfect fullness light here represents the Buddha Dharma. And it's very important because it is the key cloud that generates the next 9. It's called great perfect fullness because it represents the Buddha's fruition and virtues, okay, his spiritual powers. Whatever the Buddha has is perfect. This is what also inherent in us. The difference again is because the Buddha can activate it, can access it. We common people cannot. It's just like the hard drive. We somehow lost the address. We lost the file name. You can't access it. So this is replete with all the dharmas. Right? Any questions? Next cloud. The light cloud of great kindness and compassion. Great kindness gives joy. Kindness in Mahayana is, by definition, to be kind is to give joy. Make people happy. That's what kindness in Mahayana is about. Okay? Great compassion is the fact that you cannot stand to see others suffer. Compassion, in general, most people think of it as to feel pity for others. Not in Mahayana. Mahayana, great compassion is what? Does anyone know? Does anyone know what great compassion is? She says to remove suffering. Yes, that's what it says. Cứu khổ, okay, to help others in the suffering. Yes. But it even goes even deeper than that. Does anyone know? Yes.
It says to feel the same.
Yes, very good. You know. Okay. The proper definition of great compassion is one substance. Any problem to that? Why is that? Why is it one substance? Think about it. If you think about removing suffering and helping others get out of suffering, okay, it's still me and you. Okay? Therefore, you see others suffering and you not suffering. Right? Therefore, you're not motivated, are you? You are discerning, you're still differentiating between you and others. Okay? The true great compassion is that you see no more difference between you and others. That's great wisdom, right? So this represents the Bodhisattva vehicle. Okay? You want to have this kind of light clouds in the future, you make the 4 limitless vows. What are the 4 limitless vows? Living beings are numberless. I vow to save them all. Afflictions are endless. I vow to cut them off. Dharma doors are numberless. I vow to learn them all. And the Buddha way is unsurpassed. I vow to realize. When you cultivate these 4 limitless vows, you are planting the seeds for generating this kind of light clouds in the future. Creating the ability for yourself to do this. See, it's a reason for everything that we do in Mahayana. We constantly planting the seeds for future abilities. Third light cloud is the light cloud of great wisdom. This represents the Pratyeka Buddha vehicle. Okay, now I have your attention. I'm going to delve a little bit more details on the actual Dharma here. So, by cultivating the 12 conditionalings, they accomplish and become enlightened. Okay, what they do is, typically, they withdraw to the wilderness and they cultivate by themselves. And they observe the changing of the seasons. And they see how the season changes, how life changes, how life evolves, cycles through the four seasons. And they become enlightened to these 4 conditioned links. Isn't that amazing? You can sit there and watch the season change and awaken to the 12 links, the 12 conditioned links. Who said he had to cultivate? Who said he had to cross the lake and do with the pain? It doesn't say so. See how easy it could be? Well, actually, there's more to it than that. Think about the kind of wisdom they're acquiring. This is very, very profound. The 12 conditioned links are ignorance, engendering action, engendering consciousness, engendering name and form, which generate the 6 entrances, which generate contact, which generate feeling, generate love, grasping, existence, birth, old age, and death. Okay, what is it about? What's ignorance? What is action? What is consciousness? Anyone? This is where I don't understand how these conditional enlightened ones understand this. Why? Because ignorance is what? The particular understanding here that the Pratyeka Buddhas realize is that ignorance is actually sexual desire. Because of sexual desire gives rise to sexual behavior. Okay? Is it too much for you? You have any problems with that?
So when
See, someone has a reaction.
so where is the baby? The baby is consciousness or name of
Come. So this is life. This is how life begins, folks. We must have sexual desire for us to engage in sexual behavior, right? From the actual sexual behavior, that's when the consciousness arrives. That's what conception begins. Well, do you have any children?
Yeah.
It's talking about this link is to the
To what?
how I map that to life begins.
Life begins.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's when the egg is fertilized. That's how life begins.
out there. Where does it come from?
Not from me. This is basic biology, my dear. I can't explain to you more than that. You still have a problem with this?
That consciousness, okay, does it refer to the next generation that you're producing?
Yes.
Or?
It's the life being conceived in the mother's womb. It's the very first time that life begins. It's called consciousness.
Okay, then the ignorance is the mother's ignorance or the father's ignorance, or is it the
Both.
You need both.
okay,
You need
both
both.
ignorance?
You need the yin and the yang for that to happen. I think.
Okay, so life begins, okay, during conception, but there is the physical conception, is the physical part, but there is the reincarnation of another being into there. How is that related to?
Quite tough. Your question is very detailed. I appreciate it, but it puts me in a bind. Okay, let me put it this way: sexual desire and gender, sexual behavior, right?
Correct.
Intercourse.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. How old are you? Anyway, Ken, where have you been? Would you have a talk with your wife, please, after this? Make sure she understands this. Not the way the Catholic define it as life. The very moment that there is conception from sexual behavior, that's when life begins in Mahayana. That very moment is when a third party comes along. Your offspring comes along.
Is this our spiritual being that's
Good question.
prior to?
What is this consciousness?
A liar.
Alaya consciousness. Very good. See, Cantonese, they can understand Vietnamese. Okay? That's Mahayana. Mahayana definition of life is very, very precise. That very moment that the Alaya consciousness from the son or the daughter comes and lives in the mother's womb is when life begins. So what happens is that the offspring is drawn to that place. This life begins for it's based on conditions of sexual behavior, and as well as the attraction from that being to the couple. So you plan the causes in the past to be drawn to that couple. What kind of conditions? Indebtedness. That's the most common. And that's what happened in this society, this culture, our country. It's as if we owe our children. Think about it. You don't owe them. It's you who decided you owe them. And think about it. Think of how much money your parents had to pay to spend to raise you, to give you food and lodging and clothe you. Okay? So that's consciousness. Okay. Now, name and form. This is when the fetus begins to form. Okay? That's the next phase. And the next one is 6 entrances. This is when the baby begins to develop their own sense organs. Because of the existence of these 6 entrances, you have sense organs. You give rise to contact with the mother's womb. Okay? With the exterior, the external world. Contact here is a very important part of the life cycle. I'll give you an example. The contact here is really the troublemaker. Good, now see, she understands what I'm talking about. See, you young people don't understand. See, it's kind of fun to see someone appreciate what I'm referring to.
What did she say?
Ask her. This is important because see, she understands. She's very good.
No.
Fair.
Not fair. You see all these naive You see, all these naive people, the young ones
They
and the
talk
old.
about that, but I don't know if it's true or not true, you know.
But that you understand what I mean. You understand the spirit, the concept behind this is that without contact, we don't get in trouble. It's the contact that cuffs us up. It's not the 6 entrances. You see? You cannot control your sense organs, but you can control contact.
But everybody wonder. Everybody know that, but
But luckily, not everyone knows how to touch.
yeah, that's true.
As soon as you have contact, that's when you begin to lose control of your life. I know you guys are control freaks. I'm telling you that for your own information. In particular, yes?
Who lose the control? The mother lose the control.
No. You, the person, lose control. The baby loses control. You buy that. Có tin như mày không? Come on, I walked you down the path of sexual desire is bad. I'm just basically saying what the whole world is saying. The whole world is being stupid. Love is the most confusing, the most stupid thing you can indulge in. Yes. A man has a lot of questions here.
What is the what do you mean by contact, or what is the definition in contact?
Contact is touching. Can I be blunt with you?
If the baby's in the womb, how can the baby not touch?
That's why the baby is never in control. What he's asking about contact, I said, how about caress?
Well, any kind of touching.
Any kind of touching.
Any kind of touching.
But actually, see, the reason you guys are lucky is because if you guys know how to touch, you guys are even more dangerous.
Well, you're kind of in a little bit of a crowded space there, too. There's no chance.
You see, you guys are never taught how to touch. Think about it. Your entire life, except for the lady, your entire life, you were never taught how to touch, were you? Because no one knows. So far, so good? Okay? Because as soon as you have contact, you give rise, you can't help but have feelings. Okay? As soon as you have contact, okay, you enjoy that feeling, that touch. Yes, Ryan? Any questions? Any questions? For you young guys, you ought to know at your age, by the time I was your age, I have this knowledge. I knew that as soon as you can touch, then you got it made.
Got it made?
You got it, okay? That's why in for us level people, we have a precept against being touched.
Yeah.
Now you know why. Okay? The Buddha is so smart. He says, I know you guys have sense organs, but the one thing I can control, help you have control over is touching. Think about what's happening out there in the world. We are constantly being touched, right? Okay? You shake hands, right? You dance, right? Touching each other constantly. Okay? We are constantly in trouble. Okay? So anyway, as soon as you have contact and realize that you prefer the pleasant feeling. So this feeling here gives rise to love. Okay? So far so good? Because of love, yes.
You can't love something without touching it?
Good question. See, she's laughing again. This lady is something else. Very good. I was being crude. The answer here is you have 6 entrances. The one I described to you is only the skin It's only one of the 6. Your body. There's 5 more you can touch. Got that, Janice? 5 more. It's not about this. It's about the other 5 sense organs as well. Isn't it profound? For example, boys, go back to you boys. You know what you guys don't know about? The women. What's important for women as well is how you look at them. See? See, it's way beyond Flavia's realm, okay? I don't know why.
Women have no control of how men look at us. What are you talking about?
See, men don't know that. That's why they're so stupid. They don't know that if they know how to look at a lady, they gotta admit. I know. When I was younger, I used to court people without even saying a word. You just have to know how to look at them. See how sophisticated life can be?
Are you going to tell us what all 6 of them are?
Sight and hearing.
Your eyes, your ears, you know.
Yeah, okay.
The women also know, for example, the women also know that the way to get to a man's heart is through stomach. So there's so many, there's 6 different ways of touching. Okay? And because of love, we get item 9. It gives rise to grasping. Because you become possessive. You demand. Okay? The love we have as human, as living beings, is very possessive. Alright? And because of grasping here, this is not explained anywhere in the Chinese and Vietnamese text, but I elaborate a little bit for you because I also watched the seasons change. So I understand a little bit about this. What happens is that once you give rise to your demand, see, the key to grasping here is you demand it. You cannot live without it. Okay? You cannot exist without it. That gives rise to existence. You were planting the causes and conditions for you to go somewhere else to satisfy that desire. See that? See all these forces being pulled, all these forces, one after another. Okay? So we're being pulled by forces that beyond our understanding, beyond our awareness. See how powerful life is. Therefore we need to be more humble. Life is wonderful for that reason. It's so many conditions that are pulling us along. And we are not as much as in control as we think we are. Okay?
So how do you explain to those who have made their vows and
they're struggling like hell. They're struggling like hell. Because they cannot fulfill those vows. They don't have the Dharma to fulfill those vows. I'll give you an example. Okay? The Catholics, priests, they have 6 entrances. They have contact. They have feeling. Right? How can they be control their vow of celibacy? Think about it.
there's a certain amount of brainwashing that goes in behind that too.
Yes.
True.
But behind the scenes, it's very difficult for them, okay, to resist the sexual urges because they are constantly being bombarded with contact, with feeling, with love. You can reason it to a certain point, but eventually it overtakes you. That's why it's very rare for them to be able to observe the vow of celibacy. Just the same with Buddhism, by the way. We also have the contact, the feeling of love. Okay? And for us to have a vow of celibacy, same thing. We are struggling like hell. Okay? Because, see, in Buddhism, in Buddhism, we have a precept against for a man or woman to be alone. It's like, I cannot be alone with the opposite sex. Alright? We have that precept. We have a precept against being touched or touching someone else. Okay? Why? Because all those are the various types of dharmas that help us cultivate, to obtain, to reverse all these, to undo all these forces that are controlling us. Why? Because for you to undo this, all you have to do is go traverse in a reverse direction. If you stop the contact, then you stop the sequences that ensues from it. This is what gives us a chance to be able to break through this vicious cycles of ignorance. Vì vậy mình có thể phá qua được cái vòng vô minh này. You see, there's a dharma behind this. See, this is the difference between Mahayana and this is the beauty about Mahayana. First, they describe to you the actual process, so that you know what's happening to you, to me. Once you know the truth about how life happens to be, then there's a way for you to control. There's critical points where you can go jump in and assert control over yourself, over your own life. Alright?
So even though you're not taking the action, you're still grasping? Is that?
No. Good question. The first two is the prior life. It has nothing to do with you. You are innocent at that point. At this point,
that's mom and dad.
Mom and dad.
Okay.
You are innocent. You're still naive, innocent. Okay. You're still not dead yet.
And you don't think I can go through the rest of my life that way?
No, you can't. Because as soon as you have the 6 entrances, that's when you lose control.
So I have to follow my mom and dad's path?
You don't have to.
Oh,
You don't have to.
That's what I'm getting at.
You don't have to.
I don't have to.
Because if you happen your life to live your life to maximize the contact, then it's very hard for you.
Oh, okay.
So that's why knowledge is very important. This is why the precepts are critical. Because the precepts tell you that's exactly where you're going to lose control.
Very good.
This is why this era is called Dharma Ending Age, because no one understands precepts anymore. Isn't that beautiful?
Mm-hmm.
It's all are interconnected. Why it's happening right now? Why are people so confused? Because they are not keeping precepts. Okay. So existence gives you, because the existence bring forth, you create conditions for birth and then old age and death. As soon as you're born, you're gonna age and die. You can't help it. Okay? Any questions?
So for those 12 links, the link that is kind of the most troublesome is the contact and key. Those are the ones that we may want to work on to break the...
That's a good question, because he's a control freak. That's where he's coming from, right? If you want to have self-control, you better know how to wrest the control back. Okay? The 12 condition links tell you that you are at anywhere in this path, in the sequence of events, you can lose control anywhere. Therefore, if you want to not lose control, let's say, don't be bored. Right?
I have control over that?
Sure. You can make the point. The answer is you really can develop control over that.
In the next life?
In this life.
I see, okay. It's, okay.
Because if you enter samadhi, for example, You can live for thousands and thousands, millions and billions of years. You have no more birth. Easy. Enter samadhi. No more birth. Okay? You are in control. It's just you don't know how to do it.
Right.
Okay? It's really up to you. The normal persons, the smart people would say, this is full of crap. Let me go back to my world of love and desire and so on, because that's why I'm happy, that's why I'm comfortable with it, so that's what I know. Sure, you go back to zero control. Don't blame me for it. Okay? However, if you think that all these are potentially possible, then try cultivating the dharmas to these dharmas. They will eventually help you understand, reassert self-control. Okay? And if you don't want to be born, then forget about existence. You just traverse all the opposite direction. You strike down old age and death. You strike down birth. You strike down existence. Then, if without existence, there's no grasping. There's no grasping. Without grasping, there's no love. You are not going to indulge in love, then you have no feeling. You don't indulge in feeling, then contact is no longer dangerous for you. Okay? Then your 6 entrances are harmless. This is the state of a sage. It's no longer, these 6 entrances are no longer leakage point for them. You guys don't realize, normal people don't realize that the 6 entrances actually are where your outflows begin. That's why you lose things. Those are 6 entrances, that's why you lose things. That's why the sages, những cái thánh nhân, the sages, when they interface with the outside world, they're not confused. Because they have no outflows through the 6 entrances. That's why they're sages. That's wisdom, folks. Wisdom is not about making money. Wisdom is not about being smarter than someone else. Wisdom is that you are not confused by the external world. And that's the difference between Buddhist wisdom versus worldly wisdom. Worldly wisdom is about making more money, about being safer, about financial security, about eating good food, okay, indulging in your desire. Buddhist wisdom is about being in control. We are really control freaks after all. Okay? Questions? Có ai thắc mắc gì không? I can talk about the 12 condition links for a long, long time, which is because I've seen quite a few seasons change. So, but unless you have other questions, I will move on. Yes.
Whenever you talk about great compassion as like one substance.
Yes.
So the sage already passed the feeling state. So the feeling does not convince the sage anymore.
Sure.
And then, so how does the great compassion comes in, like about feeling the same as the other person? Like if saying that person's confused, then if you are the same.
Good question. See, you're getting the question is getting better. You see how different it is when you control your leakages? You hear better, you grasp better, you penetrate more. The last few months I've been scolding him very severely. He's younger, so he can run away, who cares? The question is, if he said, how do you answer that? See how good the question it is? He wasn't able to ask these kind of questions. Now they're coming one after another. It's just so overwhelming. How do you answer that?
He hasn't always been a sage.
Sages comes in different sizes and shapes. The first level I just talked about is the very first level of sagehood. If sagehood is only involves controlling your feeling, And to me, sagehood is not worth it. It's the very lowest form of sagehood. What sagehood am I talking about? This level we're talking about is the level of first stage arhat. The first stage arhat is called a sagehood. Only Hinayana. The state is really wonderful because they are no longer confused by the external world.
So it's compassion without the confusion.
Wait, that's only the first level. And what happened is that, this arhat then says, oh, gosh golly, wonderful, I'm in control. And this is so wonderful. They become attached to that knowledge. And that's where he gets stuck. And they no longer progress. And you have the team to progress, to cultivate. And you cultivate, the more you cultivate, the more you develop great compassion. That's my simple explanation. Your wisdom continues to grow. Alright? Any questions? That's why when Mahayana people talk about Hinayanas, because what they have is really, really wonderful, but they don't know how to outgrow. Alright? Questions? Okay, so you see, I said earlier about the fact that we are talking about proper Dharma and a place where you can go and ask questions. That's what I'm referring to. The fact that the kind of explanation we have here today of the 12 links is not available in any books because it's based on your life experience. Okay? That's how malleable Mahayana is. It's explained according to your conditions. Okay? Okay? Explain according to your questions. You have any questions? There's nothing to explain. Okay? So the wisdom here is that all things self-generate. And that's incredible wisdom, folks. If you can see that wisdom, you are incredibly wise. You even see that yourself. You can see the cycle of life, how life begins and it ends. To be realistic, look at ourselves. Look at ourselves. We are totally confused by our emotions. They can see from beginning to end. That's why they're sages. Alright? Questions? Isn't it wonderful? See, if you practice these 12 conditioning links, you too can enlighten with this. The light cloud of great prajna. This is the fourth one, that represents the arhat vehicle. Why is it they call the hearing? The arhats are the hearer, the sound hearers. Because they hear the teaching and they awaken to the truth. Can you think of one example of such one person? The 6 patriarchs. And this is what happened to the 6 patriarchs. He listened to the Sutra being recited, okay, by a lay person. When hearing the sound, he awakened to the truth. Should produce a mind that nowhere dwells. It dwells nowhere. Okay? That's why it's called hearing. I mean, the sound hearers. So, at the Buddha's time, a lot of his disciples would sit in the audience, listen to the preaching, and then they become enlightened from listening. Isn't that cool? Okay? Questions? The wisdom of the arhats is slightly different from the wisdom of the Pratyeka Buddha. It's based on samadhi power. See, the Pratyeka Buddhas earlier, they rely on observation. So the arhat rely on samadhi power to become enlightened. And they rely on non-production. Okay, so now, để mới giác ngộ được. Now I ask you, since you have a chance to hear about the Pratyeka Buddha vehicle, the Pratyeka Buddha Dharma, and the Arhat Dharma. Which one do you prefer? What's your preference? No one wants it. No preference. Yeah.
Is the Pratyeka Buddha cultivating samadhi as well?
Yeah. But it doesn't. They don't dwell on samadhi. they don't rely on samadhi to be in one.
This is very difficult, and it really is very rare. Right? I mean, just to listen and then it's
You need time. I tell you the secret. That's a good question. Very good, because you first have to listen to the description of the truth. So what I'm getting at, rely on non-production. 无生为首. This is non-production of what? What is it referring to? It refers to a state of samadhi. Cái người này ta tu thiền định. Thiền định gì? Thiền định đến cái độ mà họ không sanh một tí. The arhats no longer give rise to thoughts. Non-production of thoughts. You see, in Chinese it says 无生为首, 无生法忍, 无生法忍. Pháp, Dharma, non-production of Dharmas, okay? Non-production. Dharmas here refers to what? Does anyone know? Non-production of Dharmas. That's what the name of the samadhi of the arhat. What is Dharma? Dharma is everything that your mind produces. The arhats, okay, they put a stop to all the thinking processes. Therefore, their mind no longer thinks, no longer produces dharmas. That's why it's called non-production of dharmas. Patience and non-production of dharmas. That's their samadhi. Okay? That's what I'm getting at. Okay? The Pratyeka Buddhas, they have to observe and they cultivate those 12 conditioned links for a long, long time. There are 12 of them. They understand each and every single 12 items thoroughly. I want to explain to you at a very cursory level. Okay? Got that? They understand all 12 conditioned links thoroughly, inside out. The arhats, they only have to understand one thing: don't think. Which one is easier? See? Think about it. All you have to do is stop thinking.
Well, you have to cut those ground before you get out anyway. So.
Oh, very good. So if you cultivate samadhi, okay, chances are that you will begin to regain control of your thinking process. That's why, in terms of attainment, the arhat's level is lower than Pratyeka Buddhas. Therefore, the arhat's wisdom is so much smaller compared to the Pratyeka Buddhas. Okay? And what happens is once you have the arhat samadhi, they use that samadhi to begin to destroy the remaining delusions. Alright? So the key thing here is still samadhi power. Once you enter the samadhi, then you're able to destroy further their confusion. Isn't it fascinating? See, it takes work. Okay? Questions? Light cloud, great samadhi. This represents the God realm. The gods, the gods are always in samadhi. That's why it's called great samadhi. By their own blessings. These blessings arise from the particular set of blessings they rely on is from the cultivation of 10 good deeds and the 10 good deeds. They also take refuge with the triple jewel and receive the 5 precepts. Questions? I will elaborate more on the God's realm in the next section. Their lifestyle is so much more pleasant than ours. Okay? So I will elaborate more on the next section. The great auspicious light cloud, they represent the human realm, and you plant the causes to be in the human realm by taking refuge and taking the 5 precepts, receiving the 5 precepts. The light cloud of great blessing, they represent the Asura realm. These guys, they have the virtues of the gods, okay? They have the wisdom, the virtues of the gods, but not the blessings. Therefore, they're always trying to be the god, be a god, have a god complex, if you will. So therefore, they cannot live in the heavens; they live lower, already. And The point here, because blessings are a key part of cultivation. Blessing, you attain blessing from giving and crossing your legs and so on. They're important because they assist the proper way. The reason you need assistance is because when you cultivate, you encounter a lot of obstruction. Không tu thì mới sao hết. You don't cultivate, no problems. As soon as you set forth your mind to cultivate, you have all kinds of problems. You're sick, your daughter gets mad at you for behaving weirdly. Your boyfriend says, you don't love me anymore. Everyone is pulling you away from cultivation. Your friend who you never heard of suddenly calls you and says, hey, how about a drink today? And I'm throwing a big party. I want you to come. Yeah. And therefore, unless you have a lot of blessings, all these obstructions will prevent you from cultivation. Without the blessings, you cannot possibly understand the principles. Questions? The light cloud of great merit and virtue, representing animal realm. And if you encounter this light here that the Buddha shines, okay, it will eradicate offenses and enable you to plant the seeds to attain nirvana, and plant the seeds for produce good dharmas. Right? Question? The light cloud of great virtues, representing the hungry ghost realm. The light here is out of compassion. They induce them to change their ways and take refuge with Triple Jewel, and enable them to peacefully endure the hardships. Questions? Oh, there's one more. There's one last cloud. The 10th cloud is the light cloud of the hell, representing the hell's realm of great praise. If you're in the hells and you happen, when the light shines on you, you immediately escape the hells. That's why the Buddha mixed all these lights for a reason, to help all the living beings. All you have to do is for light to shine on you if you happen to be in the hells and you escape the hells. Right? Questions? After emitting more indescribable clouds of light, he also emitted a great many wonderful subtle sounds, such as the Dana sound, Paramita sound, the Sila Paramita sound, the Kshanti Paramita sound, the Virya Paramita sound, the Dhyana Paramita sound, and the Prajna Paramita sound. I just explained to you the ahats and the small vehicle dharmas. That's why now I can't wait to explain to you the Mahayana dharmas. Therefore, I'm trying to rush a little bit, because if you don't make it back here next week, then you only know the Hinayana dharma, and therefore in the future you only become ahats and practical Buddhas, and it would be a shame. Sound. This Saha world is sound-based. The Buddha has incredible spiritual powers. With one sound, all living beings can understand the Buddha's sermon in their own language, without faith. Moreover, they're never bored and they get excited and want to hear more. Listening to the Buddha's sound create the causes for and conditions for you to become enlightened in the future. Because that's what the Buddha does. And the Buddha sound is not bound by space, because his disciple Mahamokkhalaya is number one in spiritual powers, and he can travel very far to the east. He can still hear the Buddha sound as if it were right in front of him. Okay? So far so good? Is that enough for today? Paramita. Paramita is the Dharma for Bodhisattvas. Paramita is Sanskrit for reach the other shore, meaning that you accomplish what is to be done. Whatever you accomplish, whatever you do can be accomplished. In Mahayana, we talk about reach the other shore, meaning the shore of suffering, birth and death, to the other shore of bliss and happiness and permanence of nirvana. The paramitas are, when they mention paramitas and dharmas for the bodhisattvas, they usually talk about 6 paramitas. Because the 6 paramitas include all 10 paramitas. Therefore, when you cultivate the 6 paramitas, you also cultivate the 10 paramitas. Alright? Questions? Mắc gì không? If you have no questions, I begin the Bodhisattva Dharma. All Buddhas are produced from cultivating these paramitas. All Mahayana is contained within the 6 paramitas. That's why it's important for you to understand the 6 paramitas. First one is the Dharma of giving. Notice, this is the very first Dharma of Mahayana. If you want to learn to become a Buddha, the first thing you have to learn is giving. That's how important it is. Think about it. Okay? Giving. Giving of wealth, Dharma, and fearlessness. Notice the 3 kinds of giving. Có 3 cái loại bố thí. The Chinese or the typical person would say, oh, in terms of giving, Dharma giving is number 1. I happen to think that they all are important. The Dharma giving is very important because it provides nutrition for your Dharma body, your wisdom body, your wisdom light. Okay? Wisdom lies beyond material body you have. But I happen to believe that I happen to believe from my personal biases that I happen to believe in giving all 3. Tại sao nhỉ? Because if you don't give wealth, how are you going to sustain your cultivation in the future? In the future, when you cultivate, like let's say you become a monk like myself, okay? You need food to eat. You're not working, are you? I'm not working. I don't have a job. I'm basically unemployed. Therefore, in the future, you don't give wealth right now. In the future, who's going to give you wealth for you to cultivate? Who's going to give you a job for you to support your family? So that on weekend you can come here and cultivate. So you have a chicken and egg problem here. Therefore, I decided they were equally important for that reason. Because I can't tell which comes first. You need them both. Need them all. The question that I have for you is for fearlessness. Why is that you need to give fearlessness? Sorry. See, the Buddha is extremely smart. He doesn't tell you about things that are super truths. They are all very important. That's the clue. He uses these things for a reason. Why is it? Why is it important? Yes.
Is it that you tendency to be fearless? To be fearless when you face your abstraction and cultivating?
Very good. But before that, there's another reason. Very subtle reason. There's 2 reasons why you practice giving fearlessness. First reason. Remember when you were frightened out of your wits? You remember those days when you were frightened out of your wits? Anyone? No one?
Very much so.
What happened to you? You no longer function as a human being. You are no longer a human being.
Crawl into a hole and hide.
You don't function anymore. First things first. Okay? In a very subtle way, the way you can understand this reason, the first reason is that the deep respect that the Buddha has for all living beings. You find that? Okay? Number 2 reason is because you're not there yet. Because when you cultivate, there will be very frightening experiences. Okay? So it's not too late yet. It's still early for you to quit. In the future, you will encounter very, very frightening states, experiences. Right? You will lose control. You will lose your wits when you encounter these states. Okay? Therefore, don't cultivate because that's what's down the road for you. Okay? You are smart ones, run away. Yeah, don't waste your time, Mahayana. Okay? And that's why you give fearlessness now. Why is that you want to start giving fearlessness right now? Because when you give fearlessness, when you see someone being fearful, being frightened, you go over there and help them get out, recover. Therefore, in the future, what you're doing right now is you're giving fearlessness right now. So that in the future, when it's time for you to get in trouble, someone else will come and help you. It's incredible wisdom. The Buddha is a real genius. That's why no one explains this fearlessness Dharma here, folks. Okay? Better give now. Start giving now. Don't wait. Now you believe me what I said? You need to give all three kinds. Bởi vì cái đi thấy tại sao tôi mới giảng nghĩa đó, tại cái cho ba loại luôn vì vậy. Alright? So this is important because I dwell a little bit longer on fearlessness because I know that some usually it's not explained about fearlessness. It's glossed over by even Master YongHua because he didn't want to scare you. Because you cultivate, you will encounter these things. Oh no, not for me. I'm glad I'm not cultivating. There you go, you're smart. Yes.
How do you properly give fearlessness? Because saying when someone's scared, you tell the person that everything will be
Another good question. This boy impresses me. See, you're getting better. It is a mindset. This is a mindset I'm talking about. When you give fearlessness, is that when you see someone being fearful, you naturally come over and give them relief. If you do that, I assure you that in the future, when it's time for you to be stuck, naturally someone else will come over and help you when you need it. Because it's exactly what you're doing to others right now. Does that answer your question? It's a mindset I'm referring to. The Dharma is beautiful in the sense that this is not a... You shouldn't be the case where you listen to my explaining of Dharma and say, "Oh my God, I give money today. I give Dharma today. I give fearlessness today." That's exactly the seed you plant for yourself to be saved in the future. See, when we scare you, we also give you the antidote. All right. Questions? Now, so far so good, right? So far, giving is so easy. Then I cannot let you go cannot close today's lecture without telling you, without giving you some hints, some standards, some criteria for you to see how to perfect, how close you are to perfecting the Dharma. Because paramita is about perfection, right? You have to learn to view all three kinds of viewing such that you have the substance of the three wheels are empty. So what the substance of the three wheels are? Three wheels that we're talking about? You yourself become empty. What you give becomes empty. And the receiver is also empty. That's how you perfect this giving paramita. Easy, huh?
What do you mean by empty?
Nothing there. meaning that the self is empty, meaning that you don't see a person doing the giving. Think about it. Now, every time you reach for your wallet and pick out dollar bill, some money, and you say, today 4 hours, today $2 per hour, so $8. Therefore, you should be giving $8, which is reasonable, right? You still see a giver, right? And then the gift itself, $8. Maybe 7 is more reasonable because it's always next week. And then you see that guy, the bull-headed guy. See, he says he's used to being poor, therefore maybe $6. So you see, the giver is not empty, the money is not empty. You see a big deal with the money. You see the receiver is a big deal as well. You are not empty. None of it is empty. The work at it. Okay? Because if you don't, you will be stuck. You will be only reaping heavenly rewards. Tại vì nếu quý vị, you will never become enlightened. Questions? Finally, that's why I want to close today by telling you why the Bodhisattvas, first, the Bodhisattvas' most important Dharma is giving. Because the Bodhisattvas understand, and therefore they renounce their own blessings to give them away. That's the mindset of Bodhisattva. Alright? Questions? Time is up. Any final questions? Alright? You have no questions, then we will do a transference. May these merits and virtues adorn the Buddha's pure heart, repaying the 4 kinds of kindness above, aiding the threefold paths below. May those who see and hear all bring forth the Bodhi heart. And when this retribution body is done, be all born in land of utmost bliss. Thank you all for coming. See you next time.